Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What up? What it do? This is your girl. A white man once said, guess who's back? Back again. And Toya is back, so you should tell a friend that
My
it's the Chop
nigga.
Up Show. It's your girl Toya G. Definitely glad to be back in the building. Shout out to the plug for holding it down in between time. I've been moving around, been a little bit of Texas, a little Missouri, a little Michigan, a little this, a little that, but it feels good to be back on the Chop Up Show, especially on this beautiful Sunday evening. It's hot in California, and
Hot
so
as hell.
specifically, so pushing through that. About to start a new semester of school tomorrow. It's just a lot going on, man. But we out here. Plug. How you feeling?
I'm
How
about
you
to
doing?
start my last semester. About to
Yeah.
start my last semester. I got a little bit of echo too. Uh,
What?
but uh, but yeah, I'm glad to have my dog back. I was up here lonely for a couple weeks. But now that Toya's back, we can reframe the conversation that I was having a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Because I go on rant mode. You know what I mean? Toya usually keeps it organized. So even with planning this episode, a lot of this came from Toya crafting, shaping the conversation. So it's good to have my dog back. Another Californian as we talk California politics. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, let's get it.
What's good in the chat? A little Indian pigeon feather boy was popping with you. It's great to have you in the building.
uh,
Uh, Definitely great to have you back around these parts. Shout out to everybody else. If you come in and you catch this, go ahead and do what you know to do in the chat. Say what's up. It's nice to have you in the building.
right. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Y'all know the YouTube script. It's not
All of
playing no
that.
games.
Hit
Uh,
the bell.
but but going ahead and getting right into it, man. As y'all can see in the title today, we talking Gavin Newsom, our governor. Which I ain't gonna act like I ain't vote for him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so
They tried to
you know
recall him. I said, well, I don't think so. I think that we should not do that.
we shouldn't do
I
that
think,
at all. So,
and a lot of people agree with that.
but it's not like Gavin Newsom is popular around like the intellectual circles that we exist in. You feel
Mhm.
me? It's a lot of mixed feelings about Gavin Newsom that you're gonna see come from different people, and his involvement in this. When I was initially calling Toya, I was initially calling it a gerrymandering Cold War because it was pretty
Mhm.
much like who was gonna fire the first shot. Because ultimately, when Gavin Newsom and them was like, "Yo, hey, if y'all do it, we doing it. It is what it is." At that point, then it was just a matter of like, all right, who casting the first stone?
Right.
Now that Texas has executed, did what they did, and it's solidified. That's how they
We're
moving
gonna do
forward
it.
now. It is now no question. Gavin Newsom came through, did what he did. You know what I'm saying? And now we heading towards a redistricting vote this November. Uh, Now, for if you ain't been paying attention, Donald Trump and them essentially just straight crooks on Republicans deserve more seats in Texas. That's literally how we got here. Donald Trump just being like Republicans deserve more seats.
Yeah.
And and they was like, you know what? No problem. We gonna find you five. We can find you five. But again, what I have to illustrate and how insidious this particular instance is that they are using the Civil Rights Act, or excuse me, the
Yeah.
Voting Rights Act,
The voter rights act. Yeah.
as a way to manipulate and gerrymander even further than they've gerrymandered up until this point. Because to be clear, California or Texas is currently being sued. They're currently in the courts being accused of a racial gerrymander with the
Hmm.
districts that they have now. And Texas argued that no, there is no racial gerrymandering going on here. It's all partisan, ignoring the fact that all the research and all data shows that all partisan redistricting and partisan efforts are racial.
Yeah.
It is the problem with
Like,
entanglement.
yes.
You can't like in any partisan gerrymander creates a racial gerrymander. That's how it goes. In
Absolutely.
Texas, up until recent, was arguing that no, they did not have a racial gerrymander. It was all partisan. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous that they would be accused of such. But when Donald Trump communicated to Texas that he want them 5 seats, ultimately they use the Justice Department to say, hey, y'all are racially gerrymandered.
Yeah.
Just for Abbott to be like, oh yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. That y'all right. We are racially gerrymandered. We gotta change that. We gotta change it. So to be clear, just so we not confused, Republicans in Texas are using the Voting Rights Act as a justification for mid-decade redistricting. Period. Our legacy, social legacy, is being perverted to produce positive income outcomes for the people that hate black people.
I mean, and I guess this is where too we have to note that excuse me, there are different qualifications state to state to be able to exercise it. So there's a difference in certain states like Texas where they get to make the decision about those things, and all they need is a quorum, and they put it up to a vote amongst the leaders in those positions, and they get to decide. But in the state of California, they have it built into and baked into the cake of governing this state that the leaders of the state can't just decide, oh, yep, we just about to redistrict. Right? It's not as easy as just kind of keeping the conversation amongst those people who are elected officials who are already privileged enough to be able to guide or push the conversation. Nope, it goes to a vote in the state of California. Nope, the people get to decide ultimately. We can have a whole lot of bright ideas about how we think redistricting should go, but when it's all said and done, those decisions are made and left to the electorate to make a decision. So, just a further kind of layer to your point about how the Voters' Right Act is being bastardized, is being manipulated, is being cross-applied in ways that are not to the behest of, marginalized people who need representation at the ballot. We'll come back to, and you'll hear us probably say this again, the Latinx vote is worth 3, right? You need 3 of those votes to equal 1 white vote in the state of Texas now. You need 5 black votes in order to equal 1 vote in the state of Texas right now. And so when you look at the manipulation of systems that allow for, electoral politics to be tinkered with even more than they already have historically,
yeah,
you leave yourself open to some problematic things. However, there are some states, in some ways that some states are governed, that at least make it a whole lot more difficult to do that, like states like California. So that's just a little distinction I want to put in there, because every state is not the same.
So, and now in order for Gavin Newsom to get away with doing what he's doing, specifically with the way that California has the Citizens Commission that determines redistricting, Prop 50 is what Gavin Newsom has signed. And what Prop 50 allows Gavin Newsom to do is it suspends the Citizens Redistricting Commission until, or the language that it uses, it pauses the Citizens Redistricting Commission through 2030. Right? So it literally puts puts redistricting in the hands of Democrats for the next 5 years, right? And you see how strategic, like up until we at least able to get Donald Trump up out of here because we know how he get down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what that would do with the new maps, we looking at plus 50, plus 5 Democratic seats, so taking away 5 GOP seats and then making 3 Democratic seats safer. So at best, what Gavin Newsom and them is trying to do literally is like break even.
Yeah.
Like this does not create an advantage, people. Like I want to be clear on this. We are not talking about and wait, so before I start talking like that, I'm cool with Gavin Newsom doing what he's doing. I'm looking now. Again, I have caveats that I've spoken to. And Toya, I definitely want to give you the opportunity to speak your piece on this, because having this conversation, and I couldn't wait to say this to you, because you know how you always say you think people can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Certainly,
I don't think so. I don't think so. And what's happening with the gerrymandering and supporting Gavin Newsom is proof of this. And the reason why I say is like 2 things can be true at the same time, right? Like there could be some problematic things associated with this gerrymander, some negative, detrimental outcomes that could come from this Democratic gerrymander, but it still be necessary to not make things worse, right? But anytime, like, for example, you criticize the idea of the gerrymander, you immediately get slapped with, well, what else you think we're going to do?
Yeah.
What do you think? Well, you working for Donald Trump now? And it's like, wait, I'm thinking, like, if we're going to talk about the gerrymander, we at least need to recognize what's wrong with it. So
Yes,
even if we agree that we moving forward and going through with it, we at least recognize like, hey, we gotta this is the water we gotta tread.
I mean, it's a stopgap. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about politics and I think, awakening that we need to / are under right now is the one that reminds us to stop romanticizing the process. Like,
Right.
We live stopgap lives. So why is it that we want politics to be this fantastical process where everything works right and rose-colored glasses and pretty beautiful sonnets to us about what's going to happen and follow through on their word to the letter and to the T? It don't work like that, right?
Don't
but
work
you
like
do
that.
stopgaps. And the thing is, we want a version of politics that's not even a reflection of our real lives. We live stopgap lives. A lot of us don't really experience moments where the new path has been made, and then, no, we trying to do this to do that. We're gonna do this to do that. Then I'm gonna pivot like this, and then I'm gonna go do that. Right? This is the reason why people get degrees. This is why they get certifications. This is why they pick up trades. This is why they stay in industries that they stay in for as long as they do. It's because you're trying to do the thing until you can hold it down long enough to do the next thing. And so the awakening is that this is the same way the process has to work. Right. You're not gonna get your one-shot candidate. You know what I'm saying? As much as we romanticize Barack Obama, like even before the election, the messaging was not, I'm gonna go in and fix everything. They had to be careful and not lie and tell those stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to be specific about the goals and ambitions so that you wouldn't be under the illusion that the system wasn't the system that they were operating in. I say all of this to say, right, do the thing that gets you a little bit closer to the next thing, that gives you the leeway for that thing, that sets you up for the right people to be able to do that thing.
Yeah.
This is the last thing, and the last thing. Yeah. It's like when they used to increase our tuition and shit in college. Yeah. And even, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and be like, we gonna raising this up to build a new student union. I ain't never gonna see the student union you building. You know what I'm saying? But I'm finna pay this little bit of money so that the class of 2037 can student their union to their fullest heart's content. Like, that's really what the game is about. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes these steps backs that we're taking have to be a part of a larger vision and a larger legacy of what it means to chip away at some shit, because it's just what we got to do.
Now, this is gonna become like a major theme throughout the whole show, right? Because it's like, this is like we dealing with something where, and the phrase that I was able to come across that helps it makes the most sense is we dealing with what's called dialectical participation. Yeah. Right. And it is actively engaging contradictions of ideology and reality in order to produce better outcomes in reality, right? It's like, yes, we recognize what gerrymandering has done and the impact that it's created historically, you know what I'm saying, over time, right? It is in effect one of the most useful tools of disenfranchising black people. Mm-hmm. One of the most useful. And we recognize that going about like gerrymandering as our strategy, the strategy for the side we supposed to be on, supposedly, it seems to contradict that understanding, that mission, right? That purpose. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, and I think what people feel like Democrats are finally coming to the realization of is like, you gotta crack a couple eggs to make an omelet. That's just the reality of it. Like, it's not, and just like what you spoke to, it's not going to look the best. And you know, I've been saying for years, politics is a dirty game. Yeah. You got to get dirty. You got to do it in a way that's most effective, regardless of the principle, regardless of the ideology. That's just the reality of it. And so dialectical participation is actively engaging those contradictions as a way to produce better outcomes, as a way to kind of do more to input the type of change that you think is productive. Because, like, for example, California has a redistricting commission. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they've had it for a while. I think since 2000, maybe 10, I think so, 2011, something like that. So the efforts, you know what I'm saying, to produce that are there. But the greater problem is that when you dealing with it, with the type of opponent that folks is dealing with these days, it's shit you gotta do.
Yeah.
It's shit you got to do. But we can't. That don't mean we ignore it though. And I think that's gonna be more of the conversation. That don't mean we ignore the discussion of what's problematic. Um,
Gotta give a shout out real quick to Tyler and to Save the Children. What's good? If y'all in here, say what's up. Definitely nice to have the family back up in here. The ones who've been around here before and always show love. The ones who I ain't never seen before. It's nice to have you in this thing. Make sure you hit that bell
my
real
boy
quick.
Tyler
Make sure
was
you
good.
say what's up. You know what I'm saying? All of that.
All right. So that's the groundwork that we about to have this conversation about Gavin Newsom on.
Yeah.
Dialectical participation, recognizing that it's a dirty game. It kind of a lot of shit. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it. So, getting into what's pretty much been the most relevant thing about Gavin Newsom is that he's getting a lot of love and praise for I guess him mimicking Donald Trump's internet style and social media style. It's been a lot of discussion of like how he's been trolling Donald Trump, like kind of. I guess the best way to describe it is like mimicking, like how like Donald Trump insults people and the kind of just bombastic claims, and he's obviously doing it ironically, but it's the way that it's being perceived is just like, oh, you're mimicking Donald Trump. So the first question that I want to ask to you, Toya, to get into how we look at this nigga is, do you think this is a real example of a shift in democratic politics, or is it more political theater?
I think it is both. I think it is necessary strategizing because this is what the people want. This is what y'all eat up. This is what y'all live for. This is what rises to the top, right? Like the richness of the meal, right? Think about the shit that you cook, the fat rises to the top of like a soup or, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of got to sift it out. That's the shit y'all want. It's the bad shit. It's the shit that we supposed to be moving to the side to really get to the substance of the conversation. But you want the shit that rises to the top, the fat, the juicy, the nasty. And like, this is what captivates you. This is what keeps your attention. This is what makes you talk. And I really, I really think Republicans are stupid because, and I say this respectfully, because it takes a lot of audacity to see that messaging and be like, you're being ridiculous. Look at how you're behaving. You shouldn't be behaving in that way. Like, are you dumb or are you dumb? Because the person that you support, it's a mirror being held up. And so on one side, to answer the question more directly, yes, that's political strategizing. It's being petty because you like petty and you want petty and y'all pay attention to the train wreck. So I'm gonna give you a train wreck. The other side of it though is the use of irony, right? Which is political theater, right? It's something that doesn't have any dearth in terms of moving the needle on political issues, but allows for us to take a moment to laugh at, to scoff at, to be frustrated with not only the secondary delivery, meaning Gavin Newsom, but also the originator of the style in terms of Donald Trump, because he wouldn't be doing this silly shit. He wouldn't be posting things like this. This is your governor. This is being, you know what I'm saying? Being real funny, being real quirky, being ironic. If that wasn't already floating around as something to be made fun of, it's something to point to as look at this bullshit. It's something to be ashamed of in terms of what we've sunk to allow in terms of the leader of this country. And so, yes, like, both of them, but in a positive way. Like, I think it's good in both ways and it's necessary because as we've all been, the quote has gone, when they go low, we go high, and that shit is whack. It's played. Yeah. It don't work. And
we've been abandoned that shit. Now. Yeah. we've definitely been abandoned. I mean, and it's like, but I think when we're at the point where mimicking Donald Trump is the strategy, we're fucked. We're done for. Yeah. We've all like the game is lost. If being a buffoon, you know what I'm saying? Like even ironically, right? Like I get it, like trolling, like it's like when you troll trolls, right? Like I do that sometimes. Like if I know somebody trolling me, I don't give them like actual responses. Like I troll back. Right? Like if I know you have nothing productive to say to me, I'm not gonna have nothing productive. I'm not gonna try to attempt to have a conversation. I'm just gonna talk shit right back to you. which means that I get the the strategy, but that's my strategy when I'm dealing with online trolls, not leaders of states. You know what
I
I'm saying?
mean,
And
and I
leaders
don't
of entire
disagree.
governments.
I think my thing is that is the attention span. That is the like, and this is that's why it's so sad, and shame on society and shame on politicians for not drawing a line and being like, you're being ridiculous and inappropriate, because now that is the standard has been dropped, right? That is what people accept as kind of something that is allowable for us to even play with, or for it to be tongue in cheek about. Like, that's just the weird spiral that we're in right now. So it doesn't make any sense, but at the same time it does, because this is the cheapening of the process that we've seen. I think what's really sad, and Tyler posted in the comments like, we lost the plot. I think what's really sad is that Donald Trump has been able to win the cult of personality war. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nobody charismatic enough. I think it says a lot about Gavin Newsom that his actual personality is so
Toya, the fact
unlikable.
that we call that shit charisma, like Donald Trump, the fact that that shit's considered charismatic. This is what, and this is why I say this is the great. Donald Trump is the greatest reflection of white privilege. You can't say that shit doesn't exist in 2025.
Yeah.
When we calling what Donald Trump does charismatic. But continue. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I just it's a shame. But again, this is the same guy who has had the hearts of America being on TV hollering about somebody being fired. That's always been, he has something that taps into the sensibilities of clearly enough people to vote for him twice. So that being said, I just think that it is telling that there are no personalities, no individuals, no entities that are strong enough, bold enough, unique enough, dare I say, air quote, charismatic enough to push the needle back against what he is. And now it has to be reduced to trying to mock him or mirror him, as opposed to having just somebody who, but I don't know. Because then, and this is, we're going to get to that, there probably is some people with a really great attitude, a really great approach. I don't think Kamala Harris was the worst to sit and kind of deal with. Yeah, she had her kind of whack moments, but she is a Generation X, like black woman, biracial black woman, who's also been in every component of, government. Like, she's like trying to stay in, and by nature of who she is, she always gonna have a
Black
little bit
Hillary
of swagger,
Clinton.
but she always gonna be a little, yeah, okay, girl, whatever. And that's okay, right? But that is a personality people could have got behind, and they said they didn't want it. You got Pete Buttigieg, but he's gay. So let's go ahead and cross him off the list. He's a non-starter for a lot of people out the gate, even the Dems. Then you got, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know who else they're going to try to crank out and roll out on us. But then you got Gavin Newsom, and people don't like his personality at all. I think, what they call him, like they think he's evil. They think he's evil, but he's like a good.
He has like that. He has that like Mephisto. You know what I'm saying? Like slick talking, like literal devil. Like if the devil would pop up, like he'd be tanned
What he
with his hair slicked back.
He had the streets fucked up a couple weeks ago when he said he was gonna fuck them motherfuckers up, or something real aggressive. He said that was like,
actually, we can get to that. So
yeah.
The video we about to play, this my boy.
Sons of bitches or something. I forgot what he said, but
he said we gotta punch these sons of bitches in the face or some shit like that. Like we gonna play because you have. I mean, it's enough people on the internet that's like fuck Gavin Newsom. Okay, so like what the conversation we gonna have is, what is the appeal, right? Because there is support behind what this nigga's doing. And a lot of people, as much as quickly as niggas got tired of just blatantly supporting Democrats, now niggas is really tired of just niggas for the sake of it, tearing down Democrats. Yeah. Like it's like, all right, we've had the ideological back and forth, and the material reality produced really didn't create the type of outcome that's been beneficial to none of us at the end of the day. True. Right? So as much as we talked about hopping off a plantation, the only conversation for the last since 2016 has been hopping on another one, right? So now, we're starting to hear voices being like, "Yo, lesser of two evils was a better option because look at what we're dealing with right now." So let's get to this video. My boy She break it down. Let me make sure this is it. California. All right.
The captions is backwards, so hold your device up to the mirror while we watch this part of the show, and then
Bro, I
we'll
cannot
be back
tell
on track.
y'all. I cannot explain to y'all why it got flipped like that, but it got flipped like that. So my apologies.
Technology.
Where we at? All right, I mean, you can hear this, Toya.
Yep.
All right, all right, let's get it.
Californians, look, I know y'all got mixed feelings about Gavin Newsom, but Gavin Newsom is not playing right now.
Some people's sensibilities, I respect and appreciate that. But right now, with all due respect, we're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire, and we're going to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth.
The race for the House of Representatives is on, and for the first time, Democrats are starting to understand that whole concept of when they go low, we go high stuff don't work. Don't work. They starting to fight fire with fire for real. Listen, Trump tried to steal 5 seats to be able to take the GOP to be the majority of the House of Representatives, and Gavin Newsom is not having it. Gavin Newsom is not having it. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's going down in preparation for this election that's going to be happening in November, and what I'm trying to tell y'all is that the Democrats is finally getting it. I'm just saying, they're finally understanding that they're serious. It is go time right now.
Where I come from in L.A. representing Crenshaw and Slauson, when they go low, we squabble up. And they've changed the rules of the game, and we've got to meet them where they are, and that's what we did today. I think we recognize this moment, right? California has a responsibility not just to itself, but to this entire country. And when the President of the United States reaches down into Texas and takes 5 seats that belong to the people and transfers that power to himself, we've got to move with that same intensity, that same urgency, and that's what we did today.
You know, on the regular, Obama don't be with the whole fighting fire with fire type stuff, but even Obama is respecting how Gavin moving on this. I can see something is starting to shift. I can see a shift happening.
He's trying to rig the election. He's trying to set up the conditions where he can claim that the elections were not won fair and square. Open your eyes to what is going on in the United States of America in 2025. That's what this is about. We're responding what occurred in Texas. We're neutralizing what occurred, and we're giving the American people a fair chance. Because when all things are equal, and we're all playing by the same set of rules, there's no question that the Republican Party will be the minority party in the House of Representatives next year.
They are serious about that gerrymandering that was happening in Texas, and if this goes the way that Gavin Newsom is saying, then it will balance out the Congress with the Democratic Party having the power of the House of Representatives, and even more so, it will send a message to Trump and the Trump administration, and the Democrats ain't just laying down and going for whatever. This is some interesting stuff right here, I'm telling you.
All right, do you share she's optimism? Because I'm happy to see it, Toya. I'm happy to see it. Because, you know, my message has been for years. We don't have to love them. But unless you talking about putting somebody else in that spot, what are we doing? We got to work with what we got.
Yeah.
Now, but do you share this enthusiasm, though?
At this stage in the game, yes. Honestly,
that's crazy.
I do. Like, at this stage in the game, and this is why one of the things we have to remember is that Gavin Newsom in another press conference confirmed something that I've been hollering about and hooting about since last time. And if you listen to this show consistently, you've known that I've constantly circled back to when Donald Trump told the Christians, if you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again. He meant that shit. He's standing on business. He is literally trying to create a path to where there is no more elections. There's no more voting, or at least he could put that shit on a standstill for a third term. This is really complicated and really messed up, especially in a world where he's out here sending out hats, or people are sending out Trump 2028 hats. Gavin Newsom spoke specifically about receiving one of them himself. So, like, it's not a game. It's not a drill. Probably, right? But yeah. I think we can laugh and we can scoff at it like we want to, but it's a lot of shit Donald Trump said that we thought was stupid and goofy and ridiculous, like shutting down whole departments of education and
That's true.
building walls. And now he's building them and painting them black and getting immigrants on up out of here. And ICE has $1 billion budget. So like, I'm not so quick to be like, he ain't really about that shit. It's really not possible, or that we can ease up, or kind of like we out. And like, so this is what I kind of told you. Like I told you, it was going to be a this or that scenario that I honestly believe is the case 1000% for what's up. People really got to decide one or two things. And this is across the country, because you see the map right there. Illinois is about to be your turn. New York is going to be your turn. Jersey about to be your turn. Hakeem Jeffries. No, not Hakeem Jeffries. Who's the mayor of Maryland? Westmore today was like, listen, fam, like, you not finna come up to my shit and shut nothing down, my boy. He only got but one Democratic seat up there. Republican seat up there. But he like, I'll flip the fuck out of that one because it's that serious. It's that close, right? Yeah. Like the amount, the divide is so close. The split is so close. Like they willing to do anything. And so it's two options people got. Right. Either you gonna get in line with this shit and clock in with this shit, and you make sure you show up to vote and do shit that you might not have did before, and get other people to vote and be really kind of an activist in your own right. I'm talking about letting people ride with you to the polls, explaining and describe the importance of what's on the line, both in terms of maybe if you get your own November election popping up here after these states act, maybe you got to show up to a special election, or in 2026. Either way it goes, you gonna do that shit. Or you ready with a revolutionary strategy to get in the streets and start fighting?
Ballot of the bullet.
You willing to not, you're not gonna pay your taxes. You're not gonna you gonna stop going to work. Like, we gonna collectively stop doing shit. Like, we have to kind of decide which way we going with this shit. But it's really only two options. It's this or that. It's get with the voting shit, fight back, show up for the shit that's happening on the top level, and make sure that the seats end up how the seat's supposed to end up. Or we gotta get in the streets and get busy, man. We gotta get active. We gotta start making some decisions. Gotta start
look, and this brings us to the next question, the next part of the conversation, and that is essentially, should progressives kind of support this? Should leftists support Gavin Newsom? We know the leftist critique of Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
We know what it is. We know about the corporate, you know what I'm saying, the more moderate. We know he ain't like when it comes to like we're gonna watch actually another video in a second about what people know about Gavin Newsom and what people like about Gavin Newsom. You know what I'm saying? And so we get the leftist critique, but does the leftist critique rise above the demand for the moment? Does the leftist, does the ideological question, the moral question rise above what's needed right now?
Yeah.
And when progressives or leftists specifically, we usually rely on and focus on those foundational questions, those fundamental questions. And if those aren't satisfied, then there's a complete rejection. Right, we seen this in the last election. Right now, again, I'm saying leftist specifically because the leftist conversation was there's no way y'all can ask me to vote between these two people. I get it. Hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. But when we looking at the fact that school supplies have went up on average 13% for people who was barely able to afford it last year.
Come on.
Now we got to start asking ourselves, okay, you're right about everything. Like, generally, like the leftist criticism about the world is 100% correct,
accurate.
Now, how do we make it pragmatic? How do we get to the pragmatic point? And so when we ask the question, should leftists kind of support these types of efforts? Like, my argument is, of course we should.
Yeah.
I mean, my argument was like, should leftists vote for Kamala? Yes. Should leftists who hate and who are against what's happening in Palestine vote for Joe Biden? Yes.
Because, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, and shout out to Sandy and Tyler in the comments, kind of going back and forth and talking about how he is very strategically doing his Project 2025 plan, and how Democrats are too broke potentially to even fight back. That's a conversation that we'll probably circle back to on another day when we talk about what's necessary to really kind of, but when we think about just Man, leftist, if you really about that shit, you are going to vote for the candidate that creates the least amount of barriers and the least amount of friction between what you're trying to establish or what you're trying to obtain, so that you can get to the point of the head-to-head battle that you really want to have. But you're going to vote for the candidate that does, for example, allow for a version of history to be correctly told, even if there's no accountability for it, right? We haven't got to reparations, haven't got, but at least the right version of it. Let's go ahead and make sure I can circulate that freely without fear of being yanked out of libraries or being silenced or being targeted by the police or some shit like that, or being told that, you know what I'm saying, like I'm anti-Semitic and putting like, I'm gonna vote for the person that at least let me get that shit off real quick. You know what I'm saying? And then when we really come to a point of material tension where I gotta resolve some shit or I gotta be heard or understood or draw a line, and I'm gonna draw it. But I'm gonna make sure that I can meet with my people, that I can collectivize, that I can build for my people, that I can be intentional about doing shit for my people, whoever I represent. I want to be able to just focus on them and not be like told that that's DEI and not be told that I can't do that and that it's going to be unfunded and shut down. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
you got hotlines and snitching on your ass, DEI snitching.
What?
Like, what are we talking about?
Why would you not vote for the person who allows that? And you would rather sit home on your hands and let it kind of be what it's going to be. And that's what my biggest fear is that with all of these decisions on the table, that it's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be people in one or two groups. It's going to be people either willing to really show up and go ahead and see that, like, it finally hit them that, you know, in a world of the ballot of the bullet, that's a forced choice. You got to choose one or the other. You don't get a chance to opt out of both. And so if you choosing the ballot, like it's for real this time, like this shit really do mean something. It's really going to clock in and register for them. Or, and here's my fear, and here's who I worry about, there are people who would just have gained just a such, it was people who didn't have a taste for the process when it was Kamala and Trump. Now seeing this shit, they really turned off. They really, you know what I'm saying, unappetized by the way this political processes go. They really like, oh, this is a sham and the bullshit and whatever, it's whatever goes. And there are no rules, no guardrails, no regulations. So why the fuck would I participate in any of this shit? And they're not going to go participate at all. And that's where it starts to get a little crazy, right? We want to depend on the Republicans that see that they, you know what I'm saying, like are eating the shit that they left for us to eat, right? You know what I'm saying? They got their fair share, they got their plate too. We could try to rely on them to have this great awakening, but you can't. You need motherfuckers who's supposed to be on the right side of right in the first place to go ahead and see the value and the importance of showing up and doing the thing.
Now, I do think though, while we can identify like she's enthusiasm and you know some of the more I mean your enthusiasm and your appreciation for, you know, have like that focus on the material outcomes of our electoral decisions. I do think though, where I do see us falling into a trap now, because if I'm gonna just flex real quick, I was right. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been right since 2016. About like niggas said, you know, niggas was Trump derangement syndrome, niggas was fear mongering. It was all niggas said all of that. We looking at Trump's second term, and with 6 months in, 7-8 months in, yeah, it's pretty bad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now as we move forward, because just sitting around talking about niggas is right don't make no motherfucking difference. Like, how do we move forward? So how we move forward is, and this is I'm going to die on this hill. If we are going to gerrymander, we have to demand something out of it. If we're going to say that we support Gavin Newsom, we have to make demands on Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom going against being the loudest voice against Donald Trump cannot be enough. Gavin Newsom maintaining like breaking even against conservatives cannot be enough, right? We can't say that we like, yes, we're willing to help you break even and not ask anything of you, because that's how we've fallen into the trap of voting for Democrats the way that we do now, right? Like if you need us to break even.
Yeah, this is not, you know, a statement in direct opposition, but I think this is something that has to be considered when you talk about having to demand something. I think the organizational structures, and when you're talking about Black people, right? Black people need to be able to have some shit that they're going to ask for. Because the thing that I want to be clear that Damo has been very consistent about, and he had a video that he had to take down. He talked about in the last show because he was willing to be reflexive and kind of think about the take and how it could be misconstrued. and could have some negative implications. But the bottom line is redistricting is bad for Black people, right? For Black and brown people. It takes away voting blocks and chops them up and separates them so that your voice is watered down and hollowed out and not nearly as impactful as it would have been if you was just in a group of other like-minded voters or consistent voters with you, and y'all made a big splash like this is all how we feel in this area, right? So it does kind of mess up the way that Black communities are situated and the way that they get split into different regions and shut out.
Cracking, packing, and stacking.
That's what it is. And so understanding that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not completely unreasonable that if we willing to go ahead and let our stuff get sliced and diced, that we come with a specific demand or a specific request in return. Here's the gotcha. Realistically, Black voter bases are not organized enough to have, or the Black electorate is not organized enough to have those specific demands that we've been mad about different candidates not having on their platforms or upset with them about not following up on from term to term, right? We still haven't figured it out, and we haven't figured it out because we haven't figured out who's going to be the voice to kind of deliver that message. Either you too gay or you too woman or you too whatever, or you too this or you too that. Again, a smaller version of microcosm of the macrocosm of democratic politics, of leftist politics, where nobody's good enough to be the messenger. And also, we don't have an agreement about what's going to be about needing to make specific demands so that we have a one-to-one trade on if I show up for the voting block or if I show up for the redistricting, you're going to show up for this. Nobody knows what this is. And so we don't have the leverage to sit up and say, we're not going to support that shit unless we get X. The other side of it is the only way that agreement works in the world of what you explaining, where we make demands on things, is that we get some shit on the back end. Like, I show up for you now, but that means later on, when it's really time for some shit to matter, I need you to make something shake. But we know that they don't keep their word like that. They take your money and run. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you don't get the product. Sometimes the shit don't end up in the mail. And so that's dangerous in terms of Black people and how shit really is playing out right now and making political demands about what we want.
But I mean, I think there's a remedy to all of that, though. Like, I think one, the remedy to not having the complete infrastructure or the one voice or the one message to be able to get something, I think we at least start with, okay, if we're going to gerrymander, let's talk about how this is going to impact Black communities and find some way to mitigate those circumstances, right? Yeah. Like, so at least as we go about this, let's at least play defense. If we can't go full offense, let's at least play defense with how we're going about this. Like, recognizing, like, this is the impact that this has on these communities. So as we do this, how are we doing it to make sure that we get in the least amount of, like, it's on the wire, right? When old boy, when niggas got caught up with crimes or got caught with whatever, and the higher ups needed somebody that, you know what I'm saying, needed one of the street niggas to take a charge. Mm-hmm. For the time being, you know what I'm saying? You got to eat that. Like, it's like, cool, I eat that, but you got to take care of my family, though. You feel me? You gotta put money in our people's pocket. Like, you gotta make sure my family paid for it, that my bills and shit is paid. If I'm about to take this charge for you.
Even in terms of, like, government apparatuses or, like, grassroots organizing, who is the accountability metric? Who's, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm thinking on the level of, like, a Black Panther or a Nation of Islam, or, like, who's, like, the heavy, like, you know what I'm saying? Who's, like,
no, I mean, I think because we have, yeah, like, I think because social media plays the role that it plays in shaping the national conversation now, since those things are like uniquely tied, having that conversation be a part of the gerrymander dialogue across social media, like, literally starting there, like, getting it in it, like, letting it be known across multiple conversations that, hey, we with the gerrymander, but can we at least ensure that the conversation we having takes into account the detrimental impact of the people who are traditionally let me ask you this question. Like, what would be your thing? Like, what would be your thing? If you was like, shit's crazy, we gotta act now, we with the shits though, as long as we get X, what's your condition? What would you do? I mean, if we thinking about it from a Like anything. Like I could just say like boom, and you know what I'm saying? It could be whatever. I would create provisions to ensure a certain percentage of minority voters. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and even broken down to the different minority groups, and you know, like making sure that one, people in certain geographic areas aren't being split up and divided, right? Like so, communities are equitably distributed. Like communities of color are equitably distributed through these new regions that they created, right? So it's again, it's done in a way that let's at least make sure we're if packing or if packing and splitting, if that's happening, or cracking, if that's happening, like we're diminishing the impact of it, right? So we know how many.
So would an example of that be like, I don't know, like a subcommittee or a task force that specifically reports to the representative or whatever, has a direct line to the representative that's elected? Because like if they, you know what I'm saying, like if you've taken away the voter, the other people like me in the voter base, and it's just me and these other neighborhoods or areas or whatever, like we should be able to have some meetings, be like, we don't feel like we being felt on about like with this shit, and have a direct line to whoever do get elected to be like, hey, we did this shit, now we got your direct ear.
Like just from a practical standpoint, taking a part of that commission that already exists and ensuring that commission has oversight on how this redistricting is now shaping the ability for different groups in different areas to be able to the opportunity to be able to elect somebody that they feel like represents them. Like at least having that like that type of like knowing the impact of it, paying attention to the impact of it. So if that same commission that has the ability to change the redistricting, so they can address it. We can't like, because I'm saying at a bare minimum, we can't just go back to, well, because Donald Trump is so bad, because Republicans are so bad, whatever y'all got to do. We can't keep saying like that's what we're tired of and then go right back to that. Like that's where we got to meet in the middle. So even if our demands are about playing defense or collecting data, you know what I'm saying, or paying attention to, being aware, right? Because these, like with gerrymandering, you see the impact over multiple elections.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And this is not, I put you on the spot. It was like very muchly on the spot. Like, what is your solution? Well, what is your answer, nigga? Like, so
I have one though. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
you did
practically.
What I will say, and practically is important, because I'm just like, that don't guarantee a material condition change. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear that, and I hear, subcommittees, and I hear,
but neither did saving their seats though, Toya. That's my thing. What we're doing is we're protecting a you feel me? Like we're acting like right now with the districts that they have currently.
Yeah,
they not doing shit. They're losing now. Donald Trump is winning now. This is icing on the cake that they trying to get. Yeah. They trying to make it easier. But Democrats have been wholly ineffective to changing the material reality of or stopping the impact that conservatives have on our material reality up until this point.
This is a word. Sandy Lucy Blake in the chat. Sandy said, don't get caught up in numbers. A few is powerful, and invite everyone and everyone's economic strata in your local area. It really is like just a each one reach one type of, you know what I'm saying, like guerrilla tactic where everybody just got to come from every direction. And, really it's an all call. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly. And Sandy, it's love. We trying to like make sure we talking and keeping track of whatever, and then bouncing over here. But we definitely appreciate you and Lucy and everybody else in the chat, just kind of keeping the conversation vibrate even amongst each other. So we're grateful for y'all just kind of being in the mix. I just, it's all hands on deck, man. Like, and I think we have to hold the line on being willing to budge from that because of some whataboutisms, because of some lightweight concerns, because of some what if it don't pan out this way. Like, we really ain't got nothing to lose but our chains, because this shit is crazy.
Right.
But what's the next thing you thinking?
So this transition into this, the last part of it is really getting into like with the positivity that you speaking to is a lot of, or not positivity, but optimism that you speaking to, that she's speaking to. People are starting to push back against a lot of narratives against people like Gavin Newsom,
Yeah.
and starting to, look for opportunities to be like, hey, y'all got this wrong, right? So let's get into this sister from TikTok. Make sure you can see it first, Toya. And let me pull it up for the people.
Just so y'all know, we definitely revving back up, trying to get into more shows, get back in the flows now that the summer is over with. So if you digging what's going on and you new around here, or you just caught us, maybe for a second and third time, but you haven't committed, make the leap. You know what I'm saying? Hit the bell. Go ahead and tap in here, stick around for a little while, hit that thumb, so that you know what's going on, especially with these months to come. We gotta stay connected.
You get it?
I can hear it.
But, all right. Let's get it.
Y'all thinking it's Gavin Newsom. All the people that hate Gavin Newsom, y'all think it's Gavin Newsom. I am a native Californian, born and raised, never lived nowhere else but in California. All the things that Gavin Newsom does is stamped and approved by the citizens of California. He's not doing anything that people from California don't want him to do. Y'all think Californians are a bunch of tree hugging hippies, and they're not. People in California hate homeless people. They are so bothered by them. They want them gone. They write his office, call him, and tell him, you need to do something about it. Then when he sweeps them up and throw all of their belongings in the garbage, they then come tell you guys that that's not what we wanted. These people voted. They voted for the stores to charge us 10 cents per bag. And that 10 cents could have went to nature. It could have went to global warming funding. They voted for the stores to keep it. Do not let people from California fool y'all. Gavin Newsom had some sort of special election, and he was, I think, got twice as many votes. These people do not hate that man. These people hate homeless people. Do not let them fool y'all.
She's specifically defending Gavin Newsom, right? And kind of pointing out how, these people don't get put in these positions without the support. Like if you look at Gavin Newsom and his elections, he's the elections show a different story than what us leftists paint, right? And people have started to come to feel like, I've always felt this way. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've always felt like, bro, niggas is too stuck on what it's supposed to look like and not focused on what we need to do right now, right?
Yeah.
And while I feel like going like from 2016, up into the 2024 election, those super negative, we just beat up the Democrats all the time. Every opportunity I got, I'm just gonna say something bad about a Democrat. I think me talking about Democrats make me sound smart type people have been ruling kind of like the atmosphere, right? Like their voices have been the loudest. They've been quote unquote the most effective, but the most effective at pacifying people.
Yeah.
If we being honest. And now we're starting to see a change in that. Let me get this brother pulled up here.
I mean, as you get bro pulled up, I think it's just really important to notice because she pointed on they pointed on like a couple of different things that people criticize Gavin Newsom about. Two of the specific things that really be on his head about is his strategies for grappling with homelessness and his stances on not letting trans athletes participate in sports. Now, a couple things about that, and I'm not going to be an apologist for any anti-trans rhetoric or any individuals who don't feel like trans people don't belong in the spaces and places where they feel like they identify. Different conversation for a different day. That being said, for where he got that shit wrong, this California is just known to be an oasis for queer and trans folks and for children and for the rights that people have to determine what they want to do with their own body. And so, yes, that is a terrible take. But if we counting up the laundry list of policies and approaches and strategies that have been cemented into the California Constitution for people to live by. Like, yeah, that's an L. You know what I'm saying? But it's some other shit to look to, right? When we look at homelessness and the homeless population, like I'm gonna tell you the honest to God truth, and it's because, and I'm not stupid enough to assume that this is because they're gone somewhere living a happy life. There's probably an assortment of realities here, right? Multiple things being true at the same time. But at the job I used to be at, I used to literally have leftover food that I knew was gonna go to waste, food that I knew these kids weren't gonna eat because we was already sending them home with hella leftovers anyway. And I would take that extra food and go drive around my neighborhood and pass out places to homeless people, put myself at risk, subject myself to being in the darkness, being in the cuts, doing whatever. But I was going to the hideouts. Like, you want a plate? Did you eat? What's good? Over time, I started to see that I was coming home with extra food with nobody to fucking give it to. Now, I'm not dumb. I know some of these people are in jail because part of the solution has been to criminalize the reality of homelessness. We see that across the country. California is not unique in that regard. But I also do understand that as imperfect as they are, that different shelters, different opportunities, different places, different intermediary solutions have also been a part of the response and some of the investments here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm keeping it a stack, while he's been imperfect, like a lot of people point to the little photo op, which I feel like was just poor execution of him going out there and tearing down homeless encampments. Like, I'm not, and I don't want to be a Gavin Newsom apologist because that was bullshit too. You know what I'm saying? But when we
we shouldn't have to
we learn how to. I say
like
all this
that.
to say.
Yeah.
I say all this to say, bro. Like, on the most basic fundamental levels, we was all in elementary school and we learned how to make T-charts. In terms, you put a plus over here or a check over here, and you put a circle or a minus or a no over here, a yes or a no. You add them up, the good shit versus the bad shit, and whichever list was the longest, that was the side that you use to make a decision. If the bad list is too long, that's not good for me. If the good list is longer, that's probably the way I should go. It's the same shit. Make you a T-chart. And sit down and sit with the shit you care about the most. And as somebody who's had to make, I've been here for a decade. Me and you've been here for like what, 9?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought about going back home, moving to different places, trying something new and different. The math, the T-chart, just always California always won. I'm sorry, like it just always fucking won.
But and that's the part that gets ignored is that, like, just because a valid criticism exists does not mean that we abandon, again, it's basic ass phrases. Why would we throw the baby out with the bathwater?
Absolutely.
That makes no sense. Why would we put ourselves in a worse position? Like, I be talking with my niggas on YouTube. We have very, differing opinions on a lot of things, right? So when I'm like, yeah, I support Kamala Harris, and the nigga be like, but she was with the trans. And I was like, and you know what? I would rather argue with you about her policy on trans people than have to deal with Donald Trump and having to argue with niggas about the economy and prices going up and all that other shit.
Right.
I'd rather I sit back and have to listen to, she trying to do this, and she trying, and have to shut niggas up about that. Then have to go back and forth about whether or not tariffs or making inflation worse, and helping cause and be a part of one of the greatest transfers of wealth from the bottom group of people to the top.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Blake, who was talking about how Trump's tariffs, messed up their business and, the flow that they had. It's big love to you. We definitely sending our best to you. I know, you know what I'm saying? It's not easy. It's been difficult for a lot of people to have to adjust and adapt to the terrible situations they've been put in, but the writing was on the walls. You know what I'm saying? It's just like not enough people was able to pay attention to this shit. Not enough people wanted to take it serious. So, like, it's a lot of us suffering together because of the decisions of a few. So definitely just sending my heart out to you, because I know making those types of transitions is hard. Shout out to Vyasa in the chat, and Tyler, who, it's very clear that there is no utopia on the face of the earth. There is no perfect place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's paradises, air quote paradises, where if you go there a certain time of the year, you're going to be flooded out. It's going to rain from sun up to sundown. You know what I'm saying? Till you can't think about it no more. So it's just like, we looking for some shit that we don't even live. Our own real lives don't mirror it. They don't represent it. It don't reflect it. We don't live the lives that we are attempting to pull from and derive from these systems. We got to be a little bit more lifelike in terms of our expectations about the shit. And I think that's, humbling, because we want magic wands and we want quick fixes and we want, problem solving, and we just tired too. You know what I'm saying? But like that just ain't how the shit playing. But we got Buddy right here. Let's listen to him sound silly.
Aren't purity testing Gavin
Can you turn it up?
That nigga is evil.
Okay, I mean this with all due respect, okay? I need a lot of you guys to realize that at a certain point, you're going to have to change your messaging. Because, like, even as someone who would call themselves a socialist, this shit's getting tiring for me to watch. And I, like, agree on most of the things. Like, the constant, like, buzz killing, the constant, like, oh, you're happy about that? Did you know they're actually evil? Like, that... I don't like Gavin Newsom, okay? I don't like him. But I think it is so necessary. I love what he's doing. And I think that it's important not only for, like, the Democratic Party. I think it's important for us, for the things we want to do. If we think that we're going to come in to get power and get, like, UBI or free healthcare or free college and stuff like that with the Republican Party the way it is currently, that's just not going to happen. And instead of constantly, like, bashing, doing, like, the actuallys, doing the, like, whatabouts, like, we could take this moment and build off of it. We can ratchet up our own rhetoric. We can be aggressive with the things that we want.
And at the end of the day, a lot of these people are happy about what Gavin Newsom's doing, or they're, like, excited because they're scared. And I think going to those people that are scared and, like, desperate for something and being like, you're actually excited about that? Like, did you know that? I just don't think it's good. I think it's bad.
It's a waste of time. It's
but
a waste.
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
But hear me out, because I do think though, what sometimes happens, and this is where I'm like, the walking and chewing gum at the same time, right? I think that we get to a point where if we're saying that we're going to do something, and then somebody brings up the negative aspect of it, that is so as we move forward with this thing, we attempt to avoid this negative aspect that's being discussed. Like, I don't understand why. Like, I get the people that's just like, oh my God, Gavin Newsom, like you're supporting what he's doing and all that shit. Yeah, like that's pointless conversation. Like, so what? Like, it's not that you support Gavin Newsom. It's like, I don't want more Republican seats. I don't want more of a Republican majority. Even though they accomplishing what they accomplishing, I don't want it to be easier for them to accomplish shit.
That's it.
That is not support for Gavin Newsom.
If he the one, so be it. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, it's just the delusional people, and we've been saying this, and we'll probably continue to say this. Ballots are not love letters. They're not declarations of infatuation. They are not undying commitments to the ways and to the words and to the vision and the strategy. It is probably one of two things, right? Either you have the ability to stop some bullshit from happening. You have the ability to take up some space. You have the ability to have, and the political capital to be able to, re-establish a better trajectory for what's possible. Or you have some top line shit that you really want to do, that you really can do, that's seeming realistic, that, I kind of want to buy into. But it's not going to be multiple things. It's going to be a thing. Right? Like, it's going to be a thing I really like, that I'm really into, that I can really handle and deal with, and I can see in that. The rest of the shit is probably not going to appease me. It's not going to serve me. It's not going to impact me. It's not going to hit me. I wasn't interested in buying a new house. So Kamala was like $25,000 for new homeowners, and I'm like, good for them. That's not really what I'm in it for. She was like, okay, what I think children or families or whatever, kids was going to get a little money in the pot. I ain't got no children, ain't about to have nothing. That wasn't for me. Right. But then when you start really seeing the implications of, the economy and how much groceries were, and how, like, the kind of a vision and a plan that wasn't just shut everything down and fire everybody. Now you got my attention, because shit, like, I'm working 1,000 different jobs. I'm spread thin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was something that I can latch on to that made me feel good. And I got the benefit of Donald Trump not winning. Bing, bing. 2 boxes checked. Pow, pow. I didn't like the response to Gaza. I didn't like the response to gun ownership and not really having a serious conversation about the director of our country in that regard. I didn't like a whole bunch of other shit, but I had to charge that to the game because it was easy enough for me to find a win and find some shit that she stopped that I didn't need to happen, and I was able to sleep at night. Y'all got to get better sleep by not pretending that this shit is something that is just absolutely not. It's just not.
Yeah, which is more of a reason why it's like we can look back to 2016 and say that simply being anti-Democrat has been just as ineffective as simply voting for Democrats because it's a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Like from at this point, we can say that. Like we got off the plantation supposedly. The hell, Donald Trump got more of the black vote than any of the past, any of the past presidents in modern time.
Stupid.
So we clearly there's a shift, right? And now look at where we are. Look, and this ain't again to try to turn this into Democrat apologetics is why we dealing with the economic impacts that we dealing with now. Niggas don't know how to focus on what matters. Niggas don't know how to focus on what's important. Like, yes, you can be right about all of this shit and it be of no use to you at all. We can be 100% right about gerrymandering, which niggas is 100% right about gerrymandering, but it doesn't change the fact that if California doesn't gerrymander, it's going to make it easier for the people whose policies overwhelmingly are detrimental to people of color, poor people, overwhelmingly.
Period.
So, I feel like we've gotten to the point where, like the using Democrat as a slur, you know what I'm saying, using that as the basis to make every criticism and critique is become so played out, so ineffective that to hold on to that type of approach shows you that you just really need to get out the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At that point, it's like, stop talking politics altogether.
Yeah, because you're not seeing you being what we call very myopic, and that really does little to help you to help the process or to help the trajectory of kind of what happens. And also, we in the 11th hour, sweetheart. Like, the country is cooked. Every single facet, every single component. I think I saw a tweet or something like that I came across that was just the truth. And I think I might have even said this on the show before, but there used to be a time where we would go days without hearing about the president. Like days. Multiple consecutive, what's happening at the White House, some White House shit, not really important. It'd be days we'd hear about shit that's happening with the president and be like, they just wanted to put a press release out because shit been too quiet. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really, they ain't really made a splash here lately. So they finna talk about some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, now it's nonstop. It's multiple times a day. It's unending. And part of that is the strategic plan. They want to wear us out. It's psychological abuse, it's psychological violence. They want to constantly have us bombarded with some type of news or information about the shit.
Desensitize niggas.
And to either desensitize or to be chaos agents so that we don't know where to start. There's so much shit going on. We don't even know where to begin to start to try to regain footing and get any modicum of sense out of this shit, right? It makes it more difficult to be discerning. But that being said, it's really hard to be comfortable to be a part of a system and a part of a process where not enough people see the need to stop this shit. You know what I'm saying? As it's moving, to not do the work necessary, to not see through the bullshit and be how it's being played, to just kind of get the train back on the tracks. You know what I'm saying? It's all nonsense, but it doesn't have to be this way. And so we just have to be a little bit more hopeful through these gerrymandering processes that we get the best of it by the time it's all said and done. One of the things that's worth mentioning as we close it out, and I think you maybe did, so I'll just revisit it because it's my hope and my prayer, and it's that, the state of Texas really kind of played themselves with this gerrymandering shit, because as much as they gained 5 seats, as I think you said, they have the possibility of losing like 10 or something crazy.
Yeah, it's like so 10 become competitive when they wasn't competitive before.
And now, you know what I'm saying? So their little plan can completely backfire. And now not only do you have California who kept up with you, and Maryland and New York and New Jersey and all these other states who did what they needed to do, your own plan didn't work. So you set yourself back even more seats. than maybe you was planning on. So my finger and my toes is crossed. This clearly is not done. A lot more to be seen and told. And like we said, we're going to be coming back to have more conversations about these and other discussions because, as usual, this shit is important, but we can't be all about that. I've been thinking a lot about just generational approaches and strategies and mindsets to things. I've been thinking a lot about the lack of third spaces and those types of conversations that have been being had about how, you know what I'm saying, like a pay-to-play society is just really bad for everybody. It's bad for the kids. It's bad for the adults. It's bad for, you know, society. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for a lot of shit. It's bad for our pockets. This is bad. So leave some comments if you got some shit you want us to talk about, to think about, that's not politically oriented, or of course that is, and you want us to get in there on that. We back for the fall 25. Let's do it.
Right. Hey, so we appreciate y'all joining us. We will see y'all next time. Y'all make sure y'all following us on Instagram, TikTok, at the Political Plug, at the Chop Up Show on Instagram, at the Chop Up Show, Facebook, all of that good stuff. We will see y'all next time. It's the Chop Up, and we out.
Good night.
Boom. All right.